Welcome to Spiritual Dialogues with Father Odon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
Yes, Father. So, yeah, you better get to that part where we're gonna to answer Lodi's question at this point in our episodes, Father, because I'm.
Yeah, so the big defect had been mentioned by Pope Benedict even before in his book Ratzinger Report, written around the 1980s, I think. No?
But he's still with us, right? He's still with us.
Yeah, very
Okay.
much
Okay.
with them. So he mentioned already that the crisis is in the priestly order among the priests,
Okay.
and the crisis, the problem is the crisis of faith. Now that's a very important observation, because when you say the priests are having a crisis of faith, it means that they are not Catholics.
Okay.
And after the Vatican Synod on the abuse, where they did not solve any problem, they did not give any solution, as been expressed by the talk of Cardinal Tagle at the end of the Synod, Pope Benedict again repeated. Now, the reason for all the problems in the Catholic Church, especially the abuse cases, is because of a crisis of faith. So, in other words, people do not have faith. Now, when you do not have faith, that means you're in the natural level, or probably in the unnatural level. And that happens really like that. That's why there are so many sins which are unnatural now, unnatural perversion, because man is in the unnatural level, or at least in the natural level, but definitely not in the supernatural level. That's the biggest problem. As long as you're not in the supernatural level, you will not even know why the things that Pope Francis is saying are wrong. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know because you're in the natural level. Pope Francis says something in the natural level, you're in the natural level, you will even understand him and appreciate him.
Yes, Father.
You can only know his errors and refute him if you are in the supernatural level. And so most of the refutation of the heresies of Pope Francis and bishops and cardinals are not well refuted. The heresies are not well refuted because they are not refuting it in the purely supernatural level. They are not. That's why the people remain confused, because it is not resolved. In other words, there are heresies. Some people say it's heretics, it's heretical, but they do not say what is heretical in it. In other words, heresies are all in the natural level or the unnatural level. You have to show what is the supernatural level to which the heresy is contrary to. Contrary.
Just to Father, did not a group do that? One group, but it didn't work.
Well, Cardinal Brandmuller is doing a good job. He's telling
That's
them,
another one. Okay.
when the Instrumentum Laboris of the Amazon came out, Brandmuller came out right away. And remember, the Amazon Synod has not yet begun yet.
Yes. Yes.
But he already said, what they're discussing is heretical and apostasy.
Okay.
He said it.
But one little voice.
Very good.
One.
Yeah,
At
perfect.
least.
One
Okay.
voice.
Okay. At least
But he didn't say what was wrong with it.
he did not.
Yeah. He just said it's wrong, it's heretical, it's apostasy. But you have to say what is the right doctrine. You have to say the right one. Which is, of course, supernatural. And probably the reason he did not say the supernatural doctrine is because nobody's going to
Understand it anyway.
nobody will understand it. So he just said, this is wrong, this is heresy, this is apostasy. And everything really in the instrumentum laboris of the Amazon Synod, which has not begun, has been proven to be heretical and apostasy,
Okay.
which is a warning for our Catholics because
they
if
watch
you
it.
follow it, you go to hell.
Yeah.
If you follow it, you go to hell. You're not a Catholic. Except, as we said, we have to show why it is against Catholic doctrine. You have to show what Catholic doctrine it goes against. And people are not hearing that today. Not hearing that today. That's why they're confused. So in the Amazon, they say, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. And Cardinal Brandmuller says, you cannot do that. That's heretics, heresy, and apostasy. And the people are asking, why? What is heretical?
Hopefully somebody comes up.
Somebody has to say it.
Somebody has to say.
What is apostasy in it? Somebody has to say it. And nobody is saying it. Nobody.
You can start. You can start, Father.
Well, because like we said, Christ refuted that before too.
Yeah. Okay.
And the people did not understand either. In other words, if you do not have the supernatural virtue of faith, even if somebody explains it to you, you will not understand it. See what a big problem we have?
Yeah. So what you're saying is that this is, and people will just have to come and say, that's correct, that's wrong, and I know why, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't convince anyone. In other words, it just has to be individual again.
Because for you to say that is a heresy, you must know the Catholic doctrine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to know the Catholic doctrine, you must have faith. You see?
So I cannot convince anyone because if the person has no faith, who am I to say? That's exactly.
That's the biggest problem.
That's the problem. So I just pray we just pray. Oh.
Like for instance, many have been accusing Pope Francis of heresy. How come none of the bishops believed?
Yeah.
No. I have not heard of any bishop. Well, there are like Bishop Snyder, Cardinal Burke, and so on like that.
The ones who
Those are very few.
have gone out. About 5. There were 5 on
Yeah,
that
something
other truths, no? They wanted to.
Yeah. But most of the bishops,
Have
not one
said-
of the Catholic bishops of the Philippines
have said anything.
has said anything.
Maybe the reasoning is on the same level. Natural
Precise,
level.
that's what we're saying. Because they're also in the natural level. So they cannot see what is wrong with the heresies committed. They cannot explain it.
So what you're saying, Father, is at this point, to explain it to someone who has no faith or is in the natural level, it's useless?
Useless, yeah.
Oh, yes. It
In
is.
fact,
Yes. Yeah, I think it's,
they'll even
I
get
think I go on our,
angry.
I think I better go. We just go on our knees and pray, Lord. What
well,
can
no,
you do?
the point is for you to have faith. That's the
Yeah,
way
for
I
ourselves,
see it.
okay, for ourselves.
Yeah.
But if to worry about other people, there's nothing to do. You cannot do.
Well, faith is something personal.
Yes,
you
that's
cannot
right.
always tell somebody
to have faith.
to have faith.
No,
You
no,
cannot.
Father. But yes.
I mean,
yes.
you can give the best lecture. And
And it will not
there's
hit.
nothing.
Yeah,
No.
it will not be understood, not be
Because
accepted.
They need the proper disposition.
That's another, and that's part of faith.
Yeah, that's
Proper
part of faith.
disposition.
Precisely, yeah, proper faith. So that's our problem. That Pope Francis teaching heresies, and all the bishops, most of the bishops, not all, most of the bishops agree with the heresies. Some have spoken against it, like Cardinal Brandmuller, Bishop Snyder, many bishops, really, Bishop Paprico.
Yeah, there were
so
some.
on.
There were
good
some
ones,
names.
yeah.
Some.
Many who have stood against the heresy. But Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, not a single one.
Not a word from them.
Not a word. Meaning to say they're all in the natural level. If they are in the natural level, they cannot save any souls. Because saving souls is the supernatural level.
And I'd say, Father, if you're afraid, then you have no faith either, right?
Well, of course, if you're...
Afraid to speak up
Yeah.
because you know.
Because you have to stand up for
Yeah,
your faith.
you have to, yeah.
You have to take sides.
Yes, you have to right now,
If you want to
right?
reach that supernatural level so that you will understand the meaning of Christ's word, what shall I do, Father?
Yeah. So that is the big question now, no? The big question is, Pope Benedict says, there is no faith. And as long as there is no faith, you cannot learn Catholic truths. You cannot understand Catholic truths. You cannot obey Catholic truths. And so we have a situation where most of the members of the institutional Catholic Church, meaning to say most of the bishops, most of the priests, and most of the laymen have no faith, cannot understand Catholic doctrine, and therefore are not Catholics. And so we go to your question. What do we do?
Yes, Father.
Now, faith, well, the answer is you must have faith. Now, faith is a gift.
Yeah.
It is a free gift from God. And you have to find out to whom God gives it. To whom?
Is there some kind of qualification or something?
Yeah.
Or you deserve it?
Very clear in scriptures that God loves the humble,
Oh, yes.
and therefore He gives faith to the humble. And God hates the proud, and He will not give faith to the proud. So actually our problem in the world is everybody's proud. If you read, for instance, the book of Saint Gregory the Great on pride, it's actually on how to save your soul. How to save your soul. And Pope Gregory says the way to save your soul is just be humble. But it's impossible to learn what is humility because that's a spiritual virtue.
That is written in the book of Benedict, Saint Benedict.
Yeah, that's why nobody understands it. I mean, you have read that.
Yes, and also written by
Saint Bernard of
Clairvaux.
Clairvaux. How many degrees of humility are there?
12.
12 degrees.
It's so difficult, Father.
Because precisely because the virtue of humility, it's called spiritual humility.
Yes, there's a natural one, right? There is a natural humility.
There is a natural humility, like the humility of a beggar.
Yeah,
and so
exactly
on.
like that.
But what we're talking of is spiritual humility. And Pope Gregory repeats it, spiritual humility. So it's spiritual, it's not natural. So you cannot learn it. That's why when Pope Gregory was teaching us how to go to heaven, by having spiritual humility, he was discussing how to remove pride. Not to develop spiritual humility, because you would not learn how to do it. Something spiritual. He was teaching us how to avoid pride. And if you look at all the description of pride, practically everybody in the world, from Pope Francis down to the cardinals and the bishops and the priests and the nuns and the religious orders, all have pride. And because of that, they cannot have faith. Without faith, they cannot learn Catholic doctrines.
That's what I'm saying, Father. Why don't we just make it simple in seeking what is God's will, meaning that we should have humility.
Yeah.
And once you are humble, you will be lifted up, probably to the supernatural level.
Right away, yeah, right away. Super.
Oh,
But of course, you can go higher if you want.
But why can't we do that? Why don't we focus on humility?
Because we're proud.
Well,
That's the
maybe
only
we have to
reason.
start by removing the pride first.
Yeah, that's why Pope Gregory's book, which is 3 volumes, 3 thick volumes. I mean, for a pope during the time to have written so much, he doesn't have ball pen, doesn't have computers. I mean, that's a long treatise. 3 volumes. He was just discussing how to remove pride, and he described all kinds of pride, and it is committed by everybody today, from Pope Francis down to the priests and the bishops and the nuns, and the ordinary lay people.
But the books of that great Pope isn't around. How can we?
It's still around. It's can be downloaded in the internet. It's going to be 3 books long, so you need plenty of papers for printing. But it's really long. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Father. We have only 1 minute, please.
So this book could be the solution to all the problems, spiritual problems of the world today. But it's too long
Oh.
and it is difficult to understand.
But Bernard of Clairvaux wrote about the meaning of
Yeah.
pride and humility.
So Saint Bernard simplified it.
Yes.
Yeah. Saint Benedict even simplified it, and everybody can go to the Rule of Saint Benedict. This is also downloadable on the internet, and also the works of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, and to hope that they will understand it and therefore be humble and be lifted up to the supernatural level and solve all their questions and problems in this world.
So the key word must be seeker of truth, seeker of humility. Thank you very much for watching Spiritual Dialogues with Father Rodon de Castro. This dialogue is not only the salt and light of our Lord Jesus Christ, but also co-workers for the truth. Thank you very much, sister, for watching. Brothers?
Hosanna, Hosanna.